Apple's most affordable MacBook Pro gets a bit of a bump that's both exciting and a bit boring. The latest Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch comes with Apple's latest M2 chip and offers excellent performance and battery life. However, there's no new design here, and so it can make this new MacBook Pro feel a little bit redundant in some aspects. But one thing that certainly isn't redundant is that M2 chip, which the company promises offers 40% performance increase over the M1, and yet remains the same price as the previous model, starting at $1,299. For anyone who is just about to buy the M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch, getting the newer M2 version instead is a bit of a no-brainer. It's kind of like a free upgrade. That lack of a price rise though does come at, well, a price. The MacBook Pro M2 features the same design as the previous model, and the one before that. If you love the look of the old MacBooks, this won't be much of an issue for you, but the lack of a new design does make it feel a little bit dated at this point. Let me know in the comments down below if that matters to you. Do you like the old school MacBook design, or is it time for a refresh? On the screen right now, you can see the configuration of the new MacBook Pro that we were sent by Apple for review. The M2 chip puts in some good work here, providing excellent performance, especially when it comes to video editing, and day-to-day use, again, is excellent, with multiple apps running at once without causing the MacBook Pro any issues at all. Throughout our time with the laptop, we were impressed with how silent it was as well, with the fans really kicking in to keep things cool. You can even game on the new MacBook Pro, but more on that later. Perhaps our favourite aspect of the new MacBook Pro 13 is its battery life. At over 15.5 hours, this is incredibly impressive. Usually for workstation laptops used for intensive workloads like video editing, you'd be looking at a battery life of around half of that, or even less. It even outdoes the previous M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch, which shows that the M2 is even less battery hungry than its predecessor. However, despite all these successes, there is a feeling that the M2 MacBook Pro is maybe the last of its kind. The lack of a redesign suggests a lack of enthusiasm for the product from Apple, although perhaps it's a way to use up the existing stock from the previous models. But Apple is getting into the habit of putting out more and more new MacBooks, and so it's getting increasingly difficult to see who the 13-inch MacBook Pro is actually for. The upcoming MacBook Air with the M2 chip has a newer design, a larger and brighter screen, and should offer similar levels of performance due to having the same M2 chip, all while costing $100 less. There seems little reason to get the more expensive 13-inch MacBook Pro over the new MacBook Air then. The default configuration of the MacBook Air offers an M2 chip with an 8-core GPU, so for graphically intensive tasks, the MacBook Pro should have the edge. Though you can upgrade the MacBook Air to an M2 chip with the same 10-core GPU as the one in the MacBook Pro 13-inch. Meanwhile, for people who want a more powerful MacBook to work on, the 14-inch MacBook and 16-inch MacBook Pro from last year offer better screens, performance, and more ports. This means that despite undeniably being a fantastic laptop, the new M2 MacBook Pro 13-inch is strangely hard to justify. The good news is that this new Pro is the same price the previous MacBook Pro 13-inch launched at, which means that you're essentially getting an upgrade from the M1 to the M2 chip for free. It's also cheaper than the 2021 MacBook Pro 14-inch and 16-inch, which are aimed at higher-end users looking for powerful workstations. While they currently still come in with the M1 class chips, the M1 Pro and M1 Max that are in those machines are actually more powerful than the M2 chip. So the M2 MacBook Pro is pitched as a more affordable alternative to those MacBook Pros, aimed at people who need a powerful laptop but don't need to perform such strenuous tasks. As with previous models, there are various configuration options available for the M2 MacBook Pro 13, such as upping the unified memory to either 16GB or 24GB, as well as the option to expand the storage to 2TB. The base model comes with 256GB of storage, which is a little on the low side nowadays, especially for workstations that are used for creative professionals, so paying more for a larger SSD could pay off. As you increase the specs, however, you obviously increase the price too. While the upgrades on the inside of the new MacBook Pro are welcome and exciting, on the outside it's another story. Along with the lack of a redesign, the new MacBook Pro 13 keeps the same 720p FaceTime webcam of the previous models, while almost every other MacBook now comes with a 1080p webcam, including the newest MacBook Air. The old webcam does mean there's no distracting notch that dips into the screen, a thing that I'm sure a lot of you will be thrilled about, although it's never particularly bothered us. That old webcam is also accompanied by the old chunky bezels that surround the screen, far worse than any notch by our standards. It all means that the new MacBook Pro and the new MacBook Air are both 13-inch laptops, but the MacBook Air actually has a bigger screen at 13.6 inches compared to the 13.3 inches of this new MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Air offers a better screen, better webcam, and better microphones, and it costs less. Sticking with the same design means that the new M2 MacBook Pro still comes with that divisive touch bar too. Again, something that I'm sure is a deal breaker for many of you. All of this said, there is still obviously a lot to like about the new MacBook Pro 13. It's solidly built, the screen remains excellent, and the Touch ID button lets you log into the macOS quickly and easily using your fingerprint. That Apple flair for build quality is still evident here, and it remains one of the thinnest and lightest Pro laptops out there, though it's worth noting that you're only getting 2 Thunderbolt ports for inputs, which on a laptop aimed at professionals seems a little low. So the question is then, why no redesign? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. Or perhaps being able to put new hardware in existing bodies means that Apple doesn't have to come up with new parts, keeping the cost of manufacture down and keeping the cost to you the same as the previous model at launch. Remember that most recent redesigned MacBook Air saw a fair price bump in the line when it launched. This may also be why we saw a quicker release on the new MacBook Pro. Meanwhile, the new MacBook Air still has a vague release window of July 2022. If a lack of a redesign has meant that Apple has avoided raising the price and has been able to get it into people's hands more quickly, then some people may find this as a price worth paying. But now it's time to get back to the important bit, that M2 chip. The initial vague figures Apple gave suggested an overall performance increase of 40% over the M1 chip. But now we have the M2 in our hands, do those promises stack up? In our test, the M2 achieved better performance in both single and multi-core CPU tests, offering a notable uplift when it came to multitasking with various applications open at once. It also scored around twice as much as the Surface Laptop 4, running with Intel's high-end and still relatively recent Intel Core i7 1185G7. M2 is also much easier to say on camera than i7 1185G7, so it's a thumbs up from me. There's no doubt that Apple's move from Intel to its own chip was a wise move, and with the M2, it looks like that move continues to pay off, with the new chip offering brilliant performance compared to Intel-based laptops of around the same price. Benchmarks only tell part of the story though. The good news is that our day-to-day use of the new MacBook Pro 13 performed brilliantly. Mac OS Monterey felt fast and responsive. The apps we tested, including Safari, Chrome, Final Cut Pro, and GarageBand, all loaded quickly and ran well, even when we had a few going at once. When the M1 launched, Apple came up with a great tool, Rosetta 2. It did a great job that ensured your older Mac apps could continue to run on the newer Macs too. Since then, an increase in the number of apps now run natively on M1 and M2 hardware, leading to a much smoother experience all round. The video processing chops of the new MacBook Pro 13 remain impressive, with it easily handling multiple 8K video streams at once. The previous model was also adept at this, and unless you're doing very intensive workloads, you may not even see a huge difference if you're upgrading from the M1 model. That is, unless you go for 24GB of unified memory. The M1 maxed out at 16GB, and this boost should give you much better performance when multitasking. Because it's unified memory, not only can it be used as system memory, but it can also be used by the GPU, which means it will be able to work with much more intensive and complex graphics projects. While it won't compete with the M1 Max or M1 Pro chips powering the MacBook Pros from late last year, it should offer a good stepping stone, considering the cheaper price point of the 13-inch MacBook Pro. The M2 also has more memory bandwidth, which is now 100GB per second compared to the 68GB per second of the previous generation. So even if you get an 8GB or 16GB version, it'll have faster memory than the same amount in an M1 system. Like we hinted at earlier, the extra memory should also help out with gaming. Usually you wouldn't expect a MacBook to do much gaming, but Apple is pushing the gaming capabilities of the M2 processor, mentioning on stage at the WWDC keynote that thanks to the Metal API of the M1 and M2 chips, alongside a new upscaling feature known as Metal FX, M2 MacBooks in particular will be formidable gaming machines. while big name games supporting these features, such as No Man's Sky and Resident Evil Village, won't be coming until later, there is still a growing number of games that run on macOS. We tried out a few games on it. Shadow of the Tomb Raider remains a graphically impressive title, but at the highest settings, the M2 MacBook Pro 13 managed an average of 29 frames per second. This is perfectly playable and offers a similar level of performance as the last generation of consoles like the Xbox One and PS4, albeit with better graphics. However, for PC gamers used to 60 FPS or higher, this performance just won't be impressive. Bear in mind, however, that the new MacBook Pro uses integrated graphics rather than a dedicated graphics card like some much more expensive gaming laptops do, and in that respect, the performance is pretty great. Lowering the settings gets a much more solid 46 frames per second on average, making the game feel more fluid and responsive. And while the graphics settings were on their lowest settings, still looked pretty good. We also played Tunic, which played brilliantly. It's these more stylized indie games rather than the blockbuster AAA games, which appear to work best on the new MacBook Pro. We'll have a more in-depth look at gaming performance on the MacBook Pro soon, so head to techradar.com if you want to read all about that. It's worth remembering that the MacBooks remain impossible for a user to upgrade the components, so you're stuck with the configuration you buy. So with that in mind, we recommend going with the most amount of memory and storage that you can afford. Overall performance is very good, and a decent step over the M1 MacBook Pro 13, though in the real world tests, many people won't see this unless they really push their laptop. We've talked a lot about how you might be better off going with the M2 MacBook Air over this M2 MacBook Pro. However, ironically, one feature that the Pro has over its Airy counterpart is fans. This allows the MacBook Pro to work harder for longer without overheating, supposedly allowing it to perform tasks that would leave the MacBook Air to throttle performance in order to keep it cool. However, during our test, the fans seem to rarely kick in, if at all. This means that the new MacBook Pro is nearly completely silent when in use, which is great for people who find powerful laptops and PCs that have fans going all the time distracting. However, it does also mean that there is not too many times when the MacBook Pro's fans will mean that the laptop can outperform the MacBook Air. The M1 chip was impressively efficient when it came to power, and that allowed the new generation of MacBooks powered by it to offer excellent performance, while also offering impressively long battery lives that outstripped many Windows-based competitors. So when the M2 was announced alongside the new MacBook Pro 13, Apple was keen to point out that it was even more efficient, offering what Apple claims is an 18% increase in CPU performance whilst taking up the same amount of power. In our battery life test, which involves running a looped 1080p video until the battery dies, the MacBook Pro 13-inch lasted a very impressive 15 hours and 31 minutes, almost 2 hours longer than the M1 MacBook Pro in the same test. For comparison, the last MacBook Pro to come with an Intel processor, which launched in 2020, scored just 8 hours and 31 minutes in the same test, highlighting just how good the M2 really is. Apple has also boosted the power adapter a bit, now offering 67 watt charging over 61, which means the battery charges slightly faster. There's no MagSafe charger, however, like the new MacBook Air or last year's MacBook Pros, just yet another sacrifice to keeping that older design. So then, should you buy the M2 MacBook Pro 13? Well, if you're a pro on the go, battery life is important to you, you want that shiny new M2 chip, and you're a fan of the Touch Bar, it could be the perfect device for you. But if you're looking for a 1080p webcam, a more modern design, or a lighter travel companion, we'd recommend that you check out the newest MacBook Air. We give the new M2 MacBook Pro 13-inch 4 stars out of 5. Let me know down in the comments below if you're considering getting the latest MacBook Pro, and remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss all the latest tech news and reviews.